Hey guys, it's Clinton again. Johnny's in the house. Drop it for us, my guy.
What's up, guys? What's up? I'm Johnny. Like you said already, local, good old Florida boy, born and raised, one of those weird people that's actually from here. So, yeah.
There we go. A man of many words. Hey, I have some questions about what he does. Now, a lot of people here don't really know him. I have a little bit of background, so it's an unfair advantage on what he does and where he wants to go in his life. But he has a story. So talk to me about, growing up in this area, because you're from here and it's so easy to get distracted. I'm in Miami, so there's exotics, there's attractive women, there's all kinds of debauchery going on. So walk us through kind of your journey. How did you grow up?
All right. Like I said, born and raised here, definitely, about 2.5 hours north of here, or 2 hours north of here in Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce area. Nobody really knows about it. They call it a suburb of West Palm Beach, but
Okay.
hour and a half from Orlando and an hour and a half from Miami. And you have the ocean on the east side and the woods on the white side, on the west side. So it was definitely awesome growing up here. Normal. I'm 38 years old. Still have never seen snow before, so I'm okay with it. I love it here. I love the weather. Everybody complains about the heat, but I'd much rather be in this environment than anywhere else, I think. But yeah, normal childhood growing up. Grew up in like I said, Fort Pierce. Older brother, older sister, younger brother. And my older brother and older sister were 15 years difference between us. So I was the kind of like the only child, and my parents already went through like the not having money thing. And so they kind of were, we were spoiled. Me and my little brother got whatever we wanted. And I jumped into sports real early, enjoyed the competitive nature and was really good at really anything. They put me in bowling. I was good at bowling. They put me in baseball. Baseball was like my first sport that I loved. And I stuck with that. Ended up playing, made All-Stars every single year. Made a lot of good friendships. Made a lot of good, life choices out of it. Really, it made me who I was because of the competitive nature and the competitive spirit. And ended up playing for Team USA when I was 12 years old. I went to the Dominican Republic, played for baseball for Team USA, and went through high school playing sports. Like I said, normal childhood. My family, some people's families drink alcohol. My family smokes weed. They were everybody. You go to any gathering, and that's what happened. So for me growing up, like I saw that, and I thought that was just normal. Instead of everybody having a barbecue and drinking beer and stuff, my family just passed joints around and smoked weed. So I remember going in elementary school. I told my guidance counselor, I was like, "Yeah, my dad rolls homemade cigarettes," and I got home that day. He's like, "Johnny, you don't need to be telling people that," and. But dad stayed home and took care of me. He hurt his back the year I was born. He's a Vietnam vet Marine. He was a union iron worker, hurt his back. And so my mom was a breadwinner. She worked at the post office for 26 years, I think, and before she finally retired. He showed me everything. Showed me how to do laundry. Showed me how to cook. Showed me how to be a man in the best way that he could. And like I said, watching what I watched growing up, I thought it was normal to smoke weed. I thought it was, so that was kind of like my intro into drug use at an early age. So I'd say probably about 11 or 12. Me and my nephews were close in age. My sister was older, so my nephew was close in age with me, and we decided we were going to try to smoke weed, and we were
Just
craziest. Yeah.
Rolling your own spliff up.
Oh,
Huh? I got it.
We've
man.
seen them do it so many times, but
Yeah.
it was. So we did. We tried, and I felt something from it, but it was just the intro for me, for my life, to getting outside of myself by using a substance, and that wasn't really where it took off from, but it was the intro. It was the first time, and that's where the seed was planted for me. And I continued. I had a good childhood, man. I had a great life. I wasn't like molested by my uncle or nothing, or I had great experiences. We went to Disney World all the time, and I did. Once I got into like middle school and high school, like sports was it for me. So like I did good in school. I did just like enough to get by, so I could play sports because you had to have certain grades.
Yep.
And like I said, I mean, it was once I got into like high school, it was football. I was the wrestling coach recruited me to wrestle in high school, and I ended up getting into that and basketball, street ball is what I never played organized basketball, but I played at White City Park by my house when we were kids, and every single night we'd ride our bikes up there and play basketball. We're 12, 13 playing with 20-year-olds, 18, 20-year-olds.
Oh yeah, that's normal.
And I got my tooth put through my lip a couple times.
Catching elbows. Nobody ever called fouls, and only girls call fouls on the streets. you gotta like break something to get a foul.
Yeah, you just wipe it off and keep going. I mean, that's just the way I grew up. Like I said, being my father was older, so I kind of got that old school love growing up to where, I think that's kind of like a dying breed nowadays. And the fact that I'm a little bit younger, people see that, they're like,
Yeah, no, that's important. We have some connection points right there in that conversation, is because my mom dated a Vietnam veteran when I was a kid. His name was Steve Saffron. This dude was all blown up. He was infantry in Vietnam. He was a complete psychopath. He did drugs, alcohol, like to kind of manage everything that was going on in his mind. And it wasn't a long-lived relationship, but I still remember like all the hot mess that dude would just introduce into the world just because he wasn't good. He just was not close to good, and it wasn't his fault. It's just those guys went through a lot and didn't know how to deal with it. And this was long before, the VA did anything to help people. And then also your connection with your family, and we'll just say medicinal use of doctor-prescribed organic materials, aka smoking that stuff. So when I was a kid, I played sports as well, and then football was my thing. I did a little bit of basketball, no baseball, and I played that out of Texas all the way up until mid high school, until I got injured, multiple concussions, and I was out. And then for me, that's where my journey, kind of transitioned into, doing other things, is because I didn't really have anything driving me to do good in school, to keep the grades up, to play. And I think I barely passed high school with the lowest legal limit in grades. What I'm proud to say is that my son has straight A's. He's wrestling, and he has a more structured environment. I mean, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, don't do anything. His mom doesn't do any of those things either, and he has really great role models that are really interested in his success. But I could say is that my parents really weren't like that. They just kind of let us run wild, do our own thing, and we all kind of ended up wild as kids. So here we are in Southern Florida. Have your family journey. Now, that impacted you, I'm sure, growing up a certain way. Now, are you a father, and what kind of parameters do you provide for your parenting for your children? I mean, are you rigid, like no drugs, no alcohol, no nothing, or you want them to have kind of leeway into their experience in life?
So I am a father. I went through a period in my life where I was pretty bad off on drugs. I got a heck of a story too about how that ended up happening. But me and my son's mother, we met in recovery, and we ended up living together, and we ended up having a son. My son's name's Braden, and I ended up using drugs again. She did as well, and we got to the point where I was in and out of jail, and I had lost custody of him when he was about 4. Mm-hmm. And up until then, I mean, I was clean, so he had a great life. I was a firefighter, paramedic. Like, I had a lawn business. I mean, I had a $70,000 truck in the driveway. I had everything I ever wanted. 4-bedroom, 2-story house, white picket fence, but whenever I started using again, it didn't take long for me to hit bottom. So
sure.
He was adopted by his grandma, which was her mother. And while I was in jail, because I didn't really have a choice at that point, it was kind of like, here's the paper. You're not the dad anymore. You lost your rights. And I got drug across the bottom probably about 5 more years. So he lived with his grandma during that period. And, you know, I kind of say, I mean, she did a great job with him. I don't have any issues. But by the time I got my life together again, you know, he was already kind of raised by like YouTube and you know, grandma as best as she could raise him.
Sure.
And so there was really no real male role model in his life. And you know, I got my stuff together, and she started letting him come over again after I got out of jail. I was in this prison ministry for a little while, and she'd come pick me up, and we'd go out to dinner. And long story short, you know, obviously I've continued to do good. I got my life together. I met my wife. She had 3 kids of her own that were older, and we ended up getting, you know, we would get them, we'd split. I'd get 1 week, his mom would get 1 week. And just how things kind of worked out, the way he manipulates and stuff, because he's a young boy, you know, it was better off for him staying with dad. So he's with me full time now during the week, and he gets to go to his mom's on the weekends.
That's good. Yeah. Young men need the rigidity of a dominant male presence. Men, unfortunately, almost entirely are limited to physical harm. Right? They will not correct anything unless there's the threat of physical harm. So a male presence that's dominant in the house can set standards and back it up with a physical presence, which in line drives the younger males to just get in line, if you will. And it's unfortunate that that's typical, but I see that a lot with, you know, my own son, and he's a good boy, but he'll like buck up against his mom. She's like, I want to kill him. I was like, but he's not going to respect you.
He won't mess around with me like that.
He's not going to respect you. I was like, but you notice how when like I walk in the room, I was like, his little tail goes right between his legs. It's like, kid, I will end you. I was like, there is no way you're remotely close to stepping up. I was like, so just be respectful, know your role, and treat your mom with respect. And it's like...
And it's not even really like I think for me, like the dominance, I mean, I am dominant in that way, but I think it's just the respect, right? Because the certain level of respect that he has for me that he doesn't have for when there's other men or other, you know, the female figures, and it's like mom, grandma, whatever. He manipulates him, gets whatever he wants. And, you know, like you said, once we kind of put our foot down, and that's what I want for him, you know, I want him to, I told him, like, dude, I'm not here to make your life, you know, miserable. That's not my main goal in life. But the reason why I do these things and I say these things and tell you can't do certain things is because I've been there and I've done it.
Yeah.
And later in your life, you're going to thank me for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
that's the way it is.
When it comes to, you know, my perspective on this, it's real simple, is that a father's job is to ensure that the children can survive after we're gone. That's it. The world is hard, and, you know, no one's coming to save you at the end of the day for, you know, 99.9% of all young men. It's rough out there, and absent guidance young, you know, the world's going to chew them up and spit them out, and it's horrible, but they need that rigidity of a father and the structure that a positive male role model instills in young people. And it's just different. Not that women are incapable. It's just they don't have a certain delivery that those young people can handle.
We know it. We know when we can get over on somebody. I don't know what it is about you know, the male, but I mean, we know when we're like, I got this person's number.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So, and most of the time the women give in. I mean, that's just, at least in his life.
I saw a study recently, it came across my feed, is that children misbehave 700% more often in the presence of a mother than in any other presence of any other type of adult. It doesn't matter if it's a dad, a stranger, doesn't matter. It's that the children, same duration, will have 700x worse behavior in the presence of a mother than in any other adult in their life. And I don't know what it is. It's that motherly love. As kids know that that's a safe environment, they can pretty much just do anything and be accepted by mom. And that's just a mother's love. I don't think dads really have that thing in us, because I'll be like, no, it is 8 a.m. We're running through the house like our heads on fire today. I was like, sit over there, have your breakfast, and be quiet.
I think the unconditional love is there for me. It's just, it's portrayed in a different way.
Absolutely.
The way that I love you is by not giving you what you want. In a sense, when you want it, right?
Yeah.
So
on your terms.
You don't have control.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's what I try to, and I explain that to him, like, hey, this is why I'm controlling you,
Yeah.
because you're incapable of making decisions on your own. And selfishness, like, I don't want you to be that guy. I don't want you to be the mediocre person that walks through life. I don't want you to be the paycheck to paycheck that just thinks like I'm doing good enough. I want you to think that you're great. I want you to think that you're able to be the best possible version of yourself.
Yeah, go accomplish
Everybody
anything.
has it. Yeah, of course.
I want
And
to teach you how to go conquer the world and have
conquer it.
enough confidence that no matter what life throws at you, you could overcome it with enough effort and perseverance. And that's what I do. And, my son came to me, he's 15 years old. And, at the time, I think he was just under 14. And, he's struggling, kid, not very confident, a little bit soft, a little bit of pudgy, living with mom. He's like, I want to make some changes, Dad. I was like, all right. Went and got the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I got that one.
Yeah, that's what I got. That's
From
literally
Men's
the book that I
Fitness or
got. I was like,
whatever.
let's learn macros. I was like, if we get you dialed in with your macros, diet, AKA nutrition, and work in fitness, is like you're going to completely change who you see in the mirror, and then things will change. Watch this. Over a summer, we got him completely ripped at 14. I mean, abs on top of abs. And, the girls would be like noticing him and stuff. It was crazy. He's like, that's your son? I was like, how old is he? I was like, don't ask that. I was like, stop being a dirtbag. I was like, it's not that time yet. I was like, he's just cute. Okay. And we moved on, but he was getting, girls were flirting. Adult girls were flirting with him.
Said the same thing. My son's 14. He's about to be 15 in October. We went to a car meet this past Wednesday night. We're on the way home. I brought his friends with him too. They all got to see Lambos and McLarens and Porsches and stuff. So they had a good time. But we dropped them off, and he's like, Dad, I want to start lifting weights. He's like, I want to start eating right. I want to, because kids nowadays got that mop head that just looks like they rolled out of bed. And I'm like, I always had him clean cut. I always had a nice fade on him. He was with me at the barbershop whenever I got my stuff together. Every single time I went, he was there. And like, he just like fell off. And that's what the conversation we had the other night. And the fact that he even said that to me, I'm like, well, I was like, you got a good teacher. I'll give you that.
Go.
So
there you go. Like,
we can get going if you want.
I got a lot of problems, but 99 of them have nothing to do with that, son. I got you.
We can get fit.
Yeah, so that's my journey. And then, obviously life with kids is always different, and you kind of change and mature as an adult once you have someone that requires you to be good to take care of them. And, over this journey in Southern Florida, you started multiple businesses. You had a rocky past. So let's talk a little bit about kind of, how you got into your current situation and what is it that you do?
Okay. So, like I said, I was probably about 7 years ago now. I was just coming out of that rocky bottom part of my life, and I got out of jail. Nobody wanted nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Family was done with me. My son's mother had moved on, and probably, maybe one of the best things could ever happen to me. And I ended up in a prison ministry that just took me off the street and said, like, you got to get a job, you got to do this, this, and this. And even when I was in, jail for that period of time that I was in there, I used it. I used it as what it is, rehabilitation. So I was in the Bible, I was in books every day, self-help books. And so when I got out, I'm like, why would I go buy a pack of cigarettes at the store if I haven't smoked for 8 months, right? Why would I want to go back to that same lifestyle? So when I don't want that, I want greatness more than I want that. So I had created from the get-go, like certain like things that I'm not going to do. And even like hanging out with the guys, like I wasn't like an asshole and not hanging out with people, but I just, instead of being over there like picking up cigarette butts at the Wawa trying to keep my $10 a day cigarette habit going, I'm in my room reading self-help books, looking for the next job. Like I started out with one guy, he's like, come with me, we got a weed eating job. And I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I had a foreman truck in the driveway at this rehab facility where everybody's riding bikes. And, the 2 weeks that I was there, and that's just the way that I think, always have been that way. The way I always find a way to get myself out of, being low down at the bottom and just jump really quick. And I think, like I said, it's that mindset, certain things that I just won't do or not. Even if I'm alone, I don't care. If I'm not with the crowd, it doesn't matter to me. So progressed really well. I asked the pastor in this ministry, I said, I want a good Christian woman. And he's like, okay. It's like, well, you got to be a good Christian man first. And it made a lot of sense, right? So if what I want, I need to be that. And God provided this woman that, it was weird how we met through Snapchat. She like friended me. She didn't even know who I was. She didn't even speak English, a Brazilian girl. And there was a kid in the church that she goes to named Jonathan. She thought I was him. So long story short, she's sending, I'm in the gym and I'm posting like pictures on Snapchat, and she's like putting the fire symbol on there. So we just started talking. I seen her and I was like, and she didn't even speak English when I first met her. But we hit it off. We ended up, becoming, when I ended up leaving the ministry because I wasn't allowed to have a girlfriend in there. So, and she had her own place, a little efficiency apartment. And she said, well, maybe you could move in with me. We could try it, And she's like, in Brazil, when you live with somebody, that means that's your husband. I'm like, whoa. This is America. Like, you got to test drive the car before you, drive, all that. And that's just the way that I thought then. And
yeah.
But, we ended up being together for a while, and I started using again. And this girl would not put up with my stuff.
Yeah.
She was the first woman in my life that I couldn't manipulate. She would throw my stuff out whenever I wouldn't come home. I was out drinking or whatever after work on a Friday. And
I love her.
And out by the road.
I love her.
All of it stacked up nicely by the road.
Woman.
And then probably by like the third or fourth time I did it, that was just thrown out there. It was not even folded laundry or nothing. And she's, the last time, man, I'll never forget it. I was trying to leave, and she pulled a knife out in the kitchen, and I was like, she's going to kill me. I'm thinking I felt the knife piercing my skin.
Yeah.
But she walked past me, goes outside, pops all 4 tires on my truck. You could have just popped 2 and been good, but she went all the way around this thing, popped all 4 tires.
She's Brazilian, though. They don't do anything halfway.
And the next day, she bought me 4 new tires. But she broke it down. She's like, look, if you want that life, you can have it. Go ahead. And or do you want me? And I straightened my life out, man. She didn't let me move back in with her after that day. I ended up getting my own place. I went to another halfway house or whatever. And she's like, look, if you want a relationship with me, you got to marry me. And so I went to the pastor. I said, look, she's telling me this, this, and this. He's like, do you love her? I was like, I love her, And he's like, well, you should marry her.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, like I had like a $16 an hour job running a bulldozer. And, we barely could afford paying the rent on our little, I was paying for my spot. She was paying for hers. And the pastor of the church was like, look, I'll give you guys the $85 to get married. We went to Walmart. We bought $11 rings. She got a little fake diamond one, and I got a sterling silver one. And we got married, and it was the best decision I ever made. She's been my support since then. Like I said, we ended up getting custody of my son back. Uh-huh. And just slowly progressed, man. I was running that bulldozer, and I'm like, I want to be a foreman. I was already looking at my next step. And then sure enough, I created value in myself, showed up to work every single day, never complained, never asked for a raise. And I always got paid. They saw my work ethic, and always I got money without having to ask for it. Whether it was, people just know. You know what I mean? You create, I'm in a management position now, and I see that. Like, I tell these guys, like, if you do what you're supposed to do, you show up every day, and you are the best at what you do, and you don't complain, you will never ask for money.
Yeah, that's true.
And I just progressed, man. I'm like, I want to be a foreman. I got to the foreman position. I want to be a superintendent. I ended up I switched like 4 jobs in a couple of years, but every job that I went to was a step up.
Sure.
And like almost double. And just continued. My wife started a cleaning business. I helped her. That was one of the business I'm talking about. Now she's got 2 crews on the road. Just killing it in our area with her business, and from a girl that didn't even speak English,
It's a hustle.
And I ended up I got into the office. I wanted to be an estimator, a project manager. I got into the office with this one company, and this fellow was like, he's like, hey, it was just me and him in the office. He had this big company before, the land development work, and he's like, look, let's get some work. So I ended up finding an estimator, and within 6 months of working there, we had $18 million worth of work.
Damn.
And I hired every single employee. It was 30 guys we hired. We bought pieces of equipment. And this guy was just a dirt bag dude, you know, like didn't pay people. And I remember being in the other office, and he's like, when you get paid in construction, they got like the lien release. So you have to send a copy of the check to whoever you're paying, like, hey, I'm going to pay you, but I need a lien release. Here's the copy. And then I'd hear him telling the girl up front, and be like, we can rip that check up. We're not paying them. And every time I needed something, I couldn't get it because he wasn't paying his bills. And probably like the third time the guy motherfucked me, I was like, this is it. You know, I'm not going to be treated like this. And I started looking, man. I found a couple other spots, and one was, I'm talking life-changing money. They pay you a month out of the year. They pay send your kids to college, supervisory role. But they wanted me to travel. And I had my 11-year-old son at the time. I was split in custody with him and his mom. And I said, I was like, I ended up having another position that I went and interviewed for, which is, you know, Alliance, where I'm at now. And this guy, Adam, who's had a roofing company and sheet metal company and a general contractor for like 17 years. And he's got a skid steer and a mini excavator. I was like, look, man, we can do this. It's going to cost this much money to bid every job. You know, we can get work, because the other guy I worked for didn't like going after like smaller jobs. You know, he liked the big stuff.
You found the niche.
So that's where you start, though.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's still filler work. I mean, if you get $600,000 jobs, I mean, they add up. So, and he's like, all right, let's do it. And I came in to work with him as a project manager and an estimator. And within 6 months there, we had our first contract, $3 million contract, and right after that, a $600,000. And you know, a year in, we started buying our own equipment. And he was like, "Look, man," he's like, "I want you to be my partner in this thing. You know, you kind of built it, you run it. You know, let's go make money." So that's what I've been doing ever since on that aspect. And we're killing it. I mean, land development work in Florida, total site development work is. I mean, we're booming here.
Oh yeah,
everybody wants to move here. And what better than build the community that I grew up in, right?
Yeah.
So
that's your give back, if you will. So when I look at those things, they look like when your life's not right, you're taking from the world. You're taking from your parents. You're taking from your spirit. You're taking from everything around you. You're just a taker. At some point in your life, you recover, and you go back into, I have this debt that I owe. Everything that I used to take from to survive, or whatever it is that we were trying to do when we were younger and dumb. And now, as you mature, building your own community is a form of giving back. Like the things, eventually there'll be pet projects that you'll probably do that is like, oh, it's like, this doesn't really make a lot of sense financially, but I can make my community better in the way I always wanted it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what leaders do in their community. And at some point in your life, you really look back, and it's really just turned into a lot of philanthropy and just giving back to, you know, the next generation. Long after we're gone, the things you build will still be here. So that'll leave an impact, positive for you, but most importantly, positive for your legacy. Like, my dad built that shit right there. That's cool. And then they'll go out into the world, and hopefully they can, you know, start to build their name and leave a mark on their community. So that's where kind of things start. So that's actually a really interesting journey. Offline, I'll talk to you about. I have one of my one of the people I know does heavy machinery sales, so he's got a lick on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's crazy. You never know what the internet's going to lead you into these days. I'll tell you what. I would have never thought that meeting someone on the internet that sells like cat equipment and all that kind of shit. It's crazy. Crazy big numbers. He's like, yeah, I import this shit. And he's like, what is that? It's crazy numbers. I don't even want to say it out loud. It's like that kind of crazy. It's like annual salaries and profit and like one machine. You're like, what in the world? There's 15 out here in this open land scraping away. Nuts.
We got dump trucks we got 4 dump trucks with our company. And I tell each one of these guys, I'm like, you know, you're driving a Lamborghini, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're driving a Ferrari.
Yeah, treat it like such. Make sure it's clean when you put it back.
Cost. So
clean up after yourself. Insurance is probably way more on your truck than a Lamborghini.
Much more.
Yeah, so there's that. So you fixed your life. You started down the pathway of construction, and now you're kind of on this journey of, personal development. You kind of mastered that and sort of starting to activate social media and start to discuss where you are in the world, how you've improved, and what you see is the positive actions on the day-to-day. So kind of walk me down into that. Like, how did you get into, like, dude, I just want to get on the internet and tell my story? That's not normal.
Yeah, I never really looked at it like that, but a lot of things that I do today, I never could have told you, years ago that I would even want to do them or think that I would want to do them. Like, people were placed in my life throughout my journey that, like, I remember that pastor from the first church that I went to, the Brazilian church with my wife. We walked in one day and he's like, "You're going to be up there one day." And I just laughed at him. I was 2 weeks out of Rock Road and county jail down in St. Lucie County. And I'm like, "Do you know who I am? Are
you confused, sir?"
And then they gave me the keys to the church. They were like, here's the keys. I ran their social media for them during COVID and, Facebook and all that stuff. So, and I grew up, I'm born in 1986. I think one of the best times to grow up because you kind of got that before the internet thing and you got to grow up during the technology age. So you got to see it from the get-go.
Sure.
I tell my son, I grew up before Google, and he's in awe about it.
Yeah, how did you get
I remember
done?
MySpace when it came out. I remember all that stuff. So I got to be a part of that in my era of being younger. And so I still have that tech niche, in me as at my age group. So I'm not afraid of it. And I think as far as putting my story out there, I'll never forget, there was a guy that told me, he's like, "Look," he's like, "your testimony has power in it. Your story has power." And I never thought that. And so because anybody in life, if you've gone through anything, and this other guy said something to me the other day, he's like, "Well, what if you don't have a really cool story?" I'm like, everybody's got a story. Everybody's got something in their life that they overcame that they could tell to somebody else and help them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if it's one person in your whole life, don't hold it in. You know what I mean? And I tell my wife the same thing. She's got a crazy past that she overcame to be where she is today in America. And, we got to tell those stories. And it was difficult in the beginning because before I started this kind of run, if you will, now that, recently I started kind of trying to push the socials, I had, a couple years back, I just decided one day I was going to hop on TikTok and just say something every single day.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know, just something, whatever was going on in my life. And as soon as, I remember, I didn't even have any problems then. I would just turn the camera on and be like, today my dog pooped on the floor and I cleaned it up and, my house doesn't stink like poop anymore. But just stuff like that. And next thing you know, I had 15,000 followers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that constant posting of that. And I never thought anything about it. I never thought you could monetize it. I never not thought about anything. And then what was it? Probably 6 months ago, I opened up my YouTube that I started at that same period, and I posted those videos on there. It was 25,000 views on each one of those videos. I didn't even know were there.
Yeah.
I just opened it up. I'm like, what is this?
You were monetized. You were collecting a check already.
No, I wasn't monetized yet, but it just the opportunity presents itself, and I truly believe that there's seasons, and God kind of prepares you for each step of your life, and maybe I wasn't ready then. Maybe I wasn't in that position to where he was supposed to be, and maybe I'm not ready now. I don't know, but I'm just walking the path that I feel like I'm supposed to walk, and I have a relationship with God. I talk to Him, and I have a really good relationship with others now, which is, I think, that growing that over time has helped me to feel like I'm able to do what I want to do today as far as helping people.
Sure. Yeah. You're not ready. When I got online, I didn't really know. It was really hard for me to get on camera and speak. As much as I never shut the hell up, you'd be shocked. But I was a stuttering, bumbling buffoon on camera. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to say it. I don't know. It was just excessively hard the moment I hit that record button. And I just started doing basically the same thing. I just used it as essentially a form of therapy. That's what I use my social media for. I'm a smart person. I've been through a lot of things like just about everybody else. And you know what? I have something to say. And if I could, my goal has been since I started, if I can just do one video a day and connect with one person and change the output and trajectory of how they feel in the moment. They believe they're alone. They don't think that they can do it. They don't think that they're smart enough. They don't think they can post on social media. They don't think they can go to college. They don't think they can stop drinking or doing drugs. They don't think they can get themselves fitter. Like, all these things are just beliefs we convince ourselves to just not try. In all reality, we're all superhuman and we all have a superpower, and we're all more than capable enough to go accomplish almost anything that we put our minds to. So that has been a very effective strategy for me. I mean, I have people that have been close to suicide, like with like the gun in hand to the chin, like ready to go, like calling me at like 3 a.m. Like, and I don't know them from anybody. They're like, oh, I saw your video somewhere and I don't know who the hell you are. I don't know you from Adam, but here I am calling you through Instagram. It's like, I need help. I'm like, well, first of all, let's step away from the fucking firearm and let's talk about like what's going on in your world. Because I get it. I understand. So no matter how bad it is, we don't have to do that. So let's just work through this. And that's happened multiple times. I mean, I have clients right now that, dude, I have no idea how they find me. Like how this system here connects us. I get, 1.5 million views a month, a million to 1.5 million views a month. Like, I don't think I've ever seen 1 million people in one spot. That's to me is astronomical, and that's small numbers for social media, but it's crazy the impact over time when you just keep this machine moving and giving value and trying to help your fellow people accomplish something. What's on the other side of that journey. I mean, I have no idea where this is going to go, but every year it's bigger, and I really don't understand. I mean, I'm flattered. I'm like, you guys, like, I'm the most interesting guy that you're watching. I'm like, what's going on in your world? I mean, I'm still flattered. It's still crazy to be sitting at coffee and have people come up and know you from social media. Like, pretty much anywhere I go in Miami, if I sit long enough, someone will pass me by that recognizes me from social media. And to me, that's kind of, it's still uncomfortable. I don't really know how to take that. And they might not even be in this country. Like, a girl posted me. My girlfriend's friend came down from Scottsdale. I don't know her, never met her friend. And I don't follow her on social media or anything. We went out to dinner and I tagged her. One of her communities like, oh, I know Clinton. I was like, I don't know who the fuck that dude is. She's like, yeah, they made it a point to say they know who you are. She's like, and I don't even talk to the people. So that web, that social media cast it's scary large. And, my words to anybody out there, you included, is if you have something to say, just say it. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't matter. It's not about you. It's about them. And you never know what opportunity, what connection, what impact you're going to have on the people around you, humanity, with just the power of your voice.
Yeah.
The haters are going to come in droves. They're always going to have something to say. But I look at that is evil trying to prevent me from doing good. Because if you look at my message is so PG. It's almost entirely positive. It's all just helping business owners and people be better, giving value, how to understand Instagram. I mean, I'm salt and pepper old, and I picked up Instagram with like no experience, and I relate to not having the internet. We had basketballs and footballs and soccer, and our parents actually
before the lights turned off.
Exactly, our parents actually kicked us out the house and like locked the door. Be like, come back before it gets dark, and you're like, hey, I live here too. And they're like, go enjoy. And, that's probably very illegal nowadays. But, back in the day, they didn't give a damn. And I had no cell phone. There was no such thing as a cell phone, really, when I was a kid. First smartphone was 14 years ago, 15 years ago or something? The one that we call smartphone, the iPhone. Everything past that was kind of archaic.
Nokia with the light up antennas.
What is that? The Razors and the Nokias, 8020s or whatever they were. God, it's just so much.
I never had one. My grandma did, but every time she came over, I'd play Snake on it.
Snake. Oh my God. Pong.
Pong, yep.
With social media, pretty much to date, the majority of the people in my life have all originated from social media. As my life progressed, I had to drop certain things, and alcohol, drugs had to go. I just didn't want to do those things anymore. Not that I had a significant negative impact to my life, but it was in some measurable way holding me back from something better. And, for the first time in many years, I have complete clarity and presence, absent drugs and alcohol, and I'm really grateful for that. And all that shit has sparked from social media and seeing someone else live a life that they didn't use alcohol and drugs at any level, and they had what I perceived as a pretty dope life. So I was like, well, if that person can live a dope life without, drinking, on the weekends or partying with their friends, then let me give that a shot.
Yeah.
The bad part is that most of my friends didn't change.
That's true.
So as I changed into a different person, they didn't. So now I have kind of the majority a new set of friends, and almost all my friends they don't drink, they don't do drugs. They're just fit people, all entrepreneurs, and I think that's superior.
It's not a bad circle.
It's not. It could be worse, right? I've been around some degenerates, and my grandma used to say is if you lay with dogs, you'll catch fleas. Oftentimes other people's problems will be your problems before long. So I'm pretty selective on who I spend time with, how much time I spend with them, because, I don't want those things. I don't want problems. I'm a pretty much zero problem kind of person.
Yeah, me too.
So I just don't want drama. I don't want that. So I move through the world with intent and avoid, the massive canyons of poor choices anymore. It's like I don't have a lot of time to recover from poor choices going forward. So I just make clear, concise choices, and that's been really beneficial to me, just like you. So if you could, give advice to younger you, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
I would tell myself to step out of that fear. I think that's really what holds all of us back from anything that we want to do is the fear of how we're going to be judged by others, the fear of the unknown, really. Yeah. But, and obviously in the Christian standpoint, or I guess any standpoint, fear is a lack of faith. So
absolutely,
if you put your faith and say, no matter what happens in this situation, everything's going to be okay. Whether I like the outcome or not, if I look at life that way, that's what I would tell myself, to look at life that way, because I think I wouldn't have beat my head up against the wall as much as I did. I would have had an easier path.
Faith.
Yeah, faith.
Faith. I would agree with that. I've had a unbreakable faith for a long time, no matter what. It's my relationship with a higher power is pretty fixed. And I just believe no matter what happens, it's supposed to be this hard for me. I accept it. Everything in here's going to be okay. And I'll just take my lickings as they come and just move through the challenge no matter what it is, because that challenge is preparing you for something even bigger in the future. Now, and it doesn't have to be positive. It could be astronomical, where you get that call where, your parents aren't walking away from that car wreck at, 2 a.m. You got to go identify pieces,
That was the last one for me. I mean, really the real most tough time, because the little things kind of just, you can walk past them. But when, it was my sister just passed away from cancer at 50 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it was literally like 10 weeks from the time that she was diagnosed till she passed away. Oof. And I'm in a group of guys, man. I got 4 or 5 group chats where and I don't care. These guys make fun of me because I tell them everything.
Yeah.
Guys, pray for me because this is going on. And they're like, but it shows others that it's okay to talk about your situation and put yourself out there. And these guys were with me, man, through that whole process. And because obviously somebody gets diagnosed, you're like, oh, she's going to pull out through it, and you think the best and you want the best. But at the same time, I prayed that whatever God's will is his will. And I have no choice of what happens.
Everybody has their time.
And, when she, I had never had this before in my life, where 30 or 40 people picked up the phone and called me to check on me and see if I was all right.
Yeah, they can just tell.
But had I not put myself out there and just been like, I got this, you know what I mean? I always do. I'm not saying I would have, fell off or whatever, but it helped the process, going through the process a little smoother.
Yeah. Everybody needs support no matter what. I don't care who you are. A lot of people that ego pushes us forward and be like, I'm unbreakable. I got this all alone. It's all me. And that ego right there is
Easing God out.
That's right. It's just, you just have to accept that even the greatest biblical characters had an advocate, and we all need an advocate in our time of a struggle. And you can't really see it till you're in it, but that's good that you put it all out there and that you received the support from your community, even though probably a lot of this journey you felt alone anyways, but you never really were. And I think that's kind of life, is that the people in my world, it's kind of similar, will inadvertently check on me when they sense my behavior has changed, right? Because I'm pretty rigid with my post, and like it's like the same me. But if I miss 24 hours, people are like calling, like, you good, dude? Like, I thought you were like in jail or something. Like
when the
you don't miss
rainforest,
posts.
I didn't have
Yeah, I was
internet.
like, nah, I was like, I was just been really busy doing this thing. I was like, thank you for checking on me, though. I really appreciate it that you pay. People are paying a lot closer attention than you perceive.
That's what I told somebody the other day, and they thought I was kind of being maybe prideful because I said that, because I said it would be very hard for me to go back to the old lifestyle that I lived. Yeah. Because people would be beating on my door like, yo, where are you at? Like, I'm very, I have a I guess you call it habitual, the way that I run my life. Same things every week. And it's weird that, like, I speak broken English at home, like half Portuguese and half English. Yeah, so then search something like, what's that word?
Yeah,
what's
Portuguese
that word again?
Is a hard languge, by the way.
I don't speak Portuguese, but we do, like, honey, to explain things to her, and sometimes her aunt's there with us. Like, I'm losing my English, but
boa noche,
boa noche, yeah, but. It's hard. It would be hard for me to go back to that old lifestyle. I've put myself in the middle of the boat, so to speak. So
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. It evolves. Everybody goes through tough times. I'm glad to see you kind of dealing with that. One of the hardest times is when my last parent passed away. That was rough. It all just so happened to coincide. I was like deathly ill with the flu. Had just recently broken up with a serious relationship. She was kind of psycho, and I just couldn't deal with her. But that psycho girl like came over and just like watched over me like a hawk for like 7 days. And I'll just never forget that. Like, even though we weren't together, she just stood by and she knew. And she was a big crybaby the whole time. But it's kind of crazy. That was probably one of the roughest times. And I really wasn't close with my mom. I barely was around my mom. I didn't grow up. But having that last parent kind of like fall off, and that sense of loneliness, it's like, everybody's mortal. And I didn't really think about it. And, 5 Christmases ago was the last time I saw my mom. So when I use those metrics with younger men that I kind of mentor inadvertently just through, social connections, I always tell them, when was the last time you saw your parents? And they're like, oh, I see them once a year. I was like, how old are they? 60? I was like, I want you to think about this. You might have just 10 more I get to see mom again. They're like, what? I was like, yeah, bro. Yeah. I was like, the clock's ticking, and I know you want to go create this thing and you make a name for yourself. I was like, but you only get 10 more Christmases with mom and dad again. I was like, that's not a good number. I was like, so you might want to, prioritize that a little bit. And how about you just fly them down for the month and like hang out with them? Yeah. Do your thing, work. And the past 6, there's no more work, and you just go have dinner with your family. I was like, you won't understand today. I go, but in 10 years, 20 years, I go, it'll make perfect sense. I want you to remember this conversation. I was like, because that's one of the worst feelings, when you could have and you didn't. That regret is, 10 times worse. So loss right now, and you're working through it. That's kind of recent, right?
Pretty recent. Well, October-ish.
That's pretty recent.
Yeah, November. I don't remember the exact date, but.
Now, has that changed how you're living every single day now? That mortality aspect?
Well, not so much the mortality aspect, but it's like very similar to what you're saying, is that, same thing happened to my father. Was my best friend, and he raised me. I was in the house with him all day long while mom was at work, and we got clean together. He's been using for 45 years after he left Vietnam, whether it was opiates or smoking pot, and he got clean, and we ended up getting clean together. He had a couple years ahead of me, and so I had a relationship with my dad that none of my other brothers and sisters had.
Yeah, you had that connection.
So we would go to meetings together. Like, we used to go bring meetings into the county jail, and like he would tell his story about how he used to steal all his shit and take his weed and take his pills from him when he was trying to. And then we would share the good parts where like we got clean together, we're here together, and he passed away on my birthday.
Oh man!
And that was a time where I was in the end of my firefighting career. I was using opiates, not from the fire department, but I was on opiates, and like I remember I was in a tough spot when he had passed away, and I just continued to make it worse. I just continued to make it worse, and I didn't lose my job in the fire department because of that. I ended up resigning as a result of my drug use. Nobody really knew what was going on, but that's part of the story I tell, is that that's going on every single day. And,
yeah.
In our public safety, that these people are scared to reach out and talk. And I think part of my drug use was attributed to, obviously you being in a Marine, like you become desensitized. Like, yeah, it's just another dead person, and, and you come back to the station, you're eating your dinner, and it's like, does anybody else know that we just had an 18-month-old dead baby? Does anybody else care about that? Like,
yeah.
And then, most people were just drinking. Them guys would go home and drink for 2 days on their 2 days off and come back in and detox for the 24 hours they're on shift. But I just use different drugs. That's all.
Yeah, you just pop a pill or something.
But the going through that part, I know he's looking down on me and he's proud right now because I wasn't in the situation that I am now when he passed away, and but
yeah, we live for them. We honor our ancestors. Once we figure out our pathway, we'll do it, and then you'll pass on all those lessons to your son. So you'll be the voice between them and the mistakes that nearly ended you, and how much better everything is as long as you keep reminding. You can't guarantee that you could prevent the world from getting its hooks into your children, but at the end of the day, if you're the voice of reason, you have your spirituality, you have your lead by example, dad is showing you how to live. That's so much better than telling, right? So you just keep showing up. And how old is your boy now?
14.
Well, that's the age where that's the scariest age.
Yeah,
for me.
He's a little pain in the butt right now.
Teenage years is like, that's where I lost it. It's like basically 16. 16 is where everything turned left for me. I did recover relatively rapidly, and then I just want to prevent that for them. I constantly remind them, hey, look, don't go to those parties and grab one of those things in the Skittles bowl, right? I was like, those aren't Skittles, and you don't know what's in it and where it is. I was like,
not nowadays, man.
People die from that every single day.
Yeah.
I was like, they burn out and then they're brain dead. I was like, just understand. I was like, no matter what, I was like, you call me, I'll come get you. I was like, I'm not going to say one damn word when I pick you up. For me. I was like, I'll get you and your friends home safe. I was like, under my watch, the Marines, we didn't have one single DUI. We didn't have one single alcohol-related incident in nearly 9 years, and there was a reason why. You could call anytime. I'll go get you. Doesn't mean you won't have to pay consequences to me for being a dumbass. I go, but I will make sure you're alive, and you're probably not going to get in significant amount of trouble. I was like, but there is a debt to pay for that favor for unscrewing your world absent significant consequence. So call, and then we'll talk about it the next day. I go, but there's going to be some parents probably going to know about it, as they should, because their children are making dumb choices that could ruin their entire future. I mean, a girl in my neighborhood, I lived in Sabre Springs in California, which is just north of San Diego. It's a little community. And there was a young girl. I still remember this. Three kids in the car. She had like a GS Lexus or something. The little ones, I don't know, LS, IS, the little tiny cute ones. And she hit one of these corners at like 90, wrecked it. And, one friend died. One had significant health issues for the rest of her life, but she was unscathed. And it's just all that shit's preventable. It is entirely preventable. Kids do dumb shit. So my heart goes out to you, because I know how terrifying that is with a young man. And girls are probably about the same. But
I'm dealing with it.
Now, what do you see for your future? So we're this far. I believe you probably have a relative amount of success in what you do. Kind of where do you see your next level up in life?
So I definitely see my next level is continuous growth. I mean, but like I guess what you mentioned earlier would be legacy, right? I would like to leave an impact to where others want to leave that same impact.
Yeah.
So, and you know, you hear about it all the time. You hear about folks that are solving the world's problems by sitting in a chair. So I think that action needs to be taken. You know, if you're going to solve a problem, we got to go out and do it somehow, right? Yeah. And I've been that way for years, and giving back to my community. And one of the things I didn't mention earlier is that I'm also partners in a it's a for-profit ministry, but it's called Braveheart Inspired, and we do just that, right? Your community outreach, jail and prison ministry. We have a clothing line too that kind of helps with that, both of those things. And then just for like the last 3 years, we've been doing men's retreats that, you know, now has been put on my plate for the last couple of years to kind of to get those up and running. So just trying to help other men, because we want to prevent, you know, if we're not pouring into the next generation, who is? So we want to prevent fathers from not being able to be in their kids' lives. Oh, yeah. And so that's really, you know, my next level is to just help as many men as possible to realize that even if they're in a relationship with where they have, you know, baby mama or whatever, still be there. Yeah. It's very difficult, but we still need to be there, right? And showing guys that it's possible, showing guys that they can do what they want to do, that and like, you know, that mentorship. Yeah, and I never would have thought that I would want to do that, ever. Never would have thought I would want to help people like that.
They come to you though. You don't try. I don't advertise that I mentor 2 people at all. Right. I have a very select people that I mentor, probably less than 5. I've had them for years. Every one of them has become a millionaire over those several years. They're great young men, and all of them were absent, like positive male role models in their lives, and they just listen and they execute, and now they kind of see it. But mentorship is earned, but you don't have to go hunt for the mentees. You don't have to go hunt for the students. They seek you out through just the natural, you know, balance of the universe kind of thing. They really do. You'll just be in conversation and say one sentence to someone that you don't even know. They're like, oh yeah, this is it, boom. And then you just move on with your life, boom, gone, out of the room. And then you're like 2 weeks later, that person's going to find you on social media and be like, bro, whatever you said messed me up to like the core. That's absolutely right. How did you know? Oh, I could just tell by looking at you. I could just tell by looking at you. There was no man in your house when you were raised. You're soft. You almost look like a woman sitting there. You're so unconfident of your reality. That's it. I can just tell. And those people will find you. And I'm really grateful that I have the honor to, you know, every other week to talk with those young men and see their lives completely change. I mean, every one of them went from struggling, man, to make $5,000-$6,000. And not that, you know, it's all about money or whatever, and working hard and just not being rewarded for their hard work and their inside spirit, to seeing the world a little bit differently, putting a little bit more out there, and just finding significant success at a young age. I'm so happy for them. And that's the greatest honor, at least for me. Now we're almost out of time, my man. And, man, this is a good conversation. I wish we had another couple hours to learn more. Let's close them out real quick and leave the audience with something to remember you by. Drop them with your message. And, you know, hopefully we'll do this again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, hit them with it.
So I guess, my message is that, you know, I guess I found kind of like my niche was to, I've been helping people for years. I've been helping other men. I've been helping my friends without even knowing it, to help them build their businesses and help them grow. And so now I just kind of realized that, you know, I wanted to go on that path, and kind of like, I don't really need to pursue it. People just show up. Yeah. But just be me, put myself out there, because if I'm sitting at on the couch watching TV, that's not putting myself out there
Right.
to be available, you know? And so that's kind of the direction that I'm starting to go. And so far, I mean, it's successful. Do I know how it's going to go past that? I don't know. But, you know, I'm just going to keep walking on the path I'm supposed to walk on and, you know, put myself out there to be a coach, to be a fitness coach. I've changed my body. I've changed my physique. I've changed my mental capacity on how to think and how to get through life. Figured out how to get from a 300. I never knew you could have a 300 credit score in my finances. I mean, when I got out of jail, I'm still dealing with the wreckage of my past, but man, just to get to the point where I have credit again and to let people know that they do have a story, right? Everybody has a story. You don't have to have this big, and I don't think mine's grandiose, but you don't have to have this big grandiose story to reach people. So being able to sit down with folks and find out what it is they want to do, whether it's with fitness, finance, or helping to get them on board with their fate, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So,
no, I believe that's amazing. And, you know, I couldn't agree more. I don't actually care where you're at in the world. I know this, you're not alone. I know that if you don't like where you're located right now in your existence, that you could change it in a heartbeat and become a new person. Man, woman, doesn't matter. You can forge your own path as long as you're willing to put in the work and remove everything that's distracting you from achieving that goal. Just like faith, you have to remove fear and establish and link your existence to faith, because it doesn't matter. Even if this is happening to me, I can overcome as long as I have faith. And you start there, and your world will start to improve slowly over time. And you don't know how far ahead you're going to be from your old self by just putting forth the minimalist effort with faith, commitment to being better. Till next time, I'll talk to you guys later.